This week, former Massachusetts governor and current NCAA President Charlie Baker announced a proposal that has many people talking tonight. It involves Division I college sports and a school's ability to pay their student athletes. Western Mass News reporter Abby Carnevale spoke with a local athletic director, high school and college, to see how it changes things.
The letter itself certainly recognizes that there's a divide in Division I athletics.
UMass Amherst athletic director Ryan Bamford was on the receiving end of the NCAA President Charlie Baker's proposal to change the compensation game for Division I college programs and athletes.
This addresses at a high level where he sees opportunities, and I think we're trying to evaluate now, only 24 hours into receiving the letter, trying to evaluate what this will mean at a local level.
The letter was sent to 350 Division I programs. It discusses allowing top programs to compensate their players, similarly to the current third-party name, image, and likeness contracts that exist today. Bamford tells Western Mass News the devil is in the details, and this could expose and formalize disparities across programs and the recruiting process.
I don't know that there's ever going to be full alignment across Division I schools and institutions and athletic programs. But the fact that the conversation is now under the microscope.
Bill Watson, Central High School football and men's varsity basketball coach, is also father of his own Division I athlete. He tells Western Mass News how this will change the recruiting game.
I thought it's a step in the right direction. You always want to have some structure and organization to anything you do. I think right now, NIL is kind of all over the place.
Right now, NIL deals with student athletes are strictly contracts with third-party organizations. This new proposal changes that. If accepted, Division I programs would have the opportunity to compensate their students for their use of their name, image, and likeness.
The proposal that I saw that they're putting through right now was a step in the correct direction.
Watson is a former student athlete himself, a football player from American International College. NIL and the possibility of compensating students, he says, provides financial stability for student athletes before they even graduate. Now, it could come from their school.
NIL gives you that opportunity. If you're making money while you're in school and you're focused on your future, you can put money away.
That was Abby Carnevale reporting. The NCAA has not announced yet when this proposal could go into effect. When we come back, Jenna has one last look at our first alert forecast, and it's Wild Wednesday on Critter Corner.